Algebra, Unit 8, Lesson 4, Notes 4, Factoring by Choosing the Best Method. We have learned 3 different types of factoring. The first type was by greatest common factor, or GCF. We then learned the difference of 2 perfect squares, or dots. And lastly, we learned how to factor a trinomial when our a is 1, our leading coefficient is 1, which we use the method MAM. Determine which method to use and then factor each polynomial appropriately. If it can't be factored, write cannot be factored and explain your reasoning. Remember to always check for a GCF first. So letter A. We have 25x to the 5th minus 40x to the 3rd. I'm always going to check for GCF. I have x's in common, and I have 24 and 40, which are both even, so I know at least a 2 goes into it. Of course, we're going to check to see if we have a higher number. For my x's, I can pull out the smallest amount, so x to the 3rd. And between 24 and 40, the GCF is 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3. X to the 5th divided by x to the 3rd is x squared. Negative 40 divided by 8 is negative 5. And x to the 3rd divided by x to the 3rd is 1, so we don't need to write it. And here we used GCF. Letter B. Okay, I have always check for GCF. I have an x squared, but no x term over here. I have a 4 and an 81. My factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4. 2 nor 4 go into 81, so I cannot use GCF. I have a binomial, which means I should be checking for dots. Do I have perfect squares? X squared has an even exponent. I know that's a perfect square then. 4 is a perfect square, and 81 is a perfect square. Oops. So the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of x squared is x. And the square root of 81 is 9. So this factors into 2x plus 9 and 2x minus 9. And here we used dots. Letter C. Okay, always check for GCF. I have an x, no x. I have 28, 12, and 1. Therefore, there's no GCF because they don't all have x's, and because this is a 1, I can't really pull anything out of it because it would just be the same thing. So we have a trinomial, which means we are going to use MAM. And I'll jot that down over here. That's the method. Okay, so we're looking what multiplies to give us, there's an invisible 1 there, 1 times negative 28 is negative 28. And we're looking for something that adds to 12. Okay, so our factors of negative 28. Negative 4 and positive 7, which add to be 3, so that's not it. I need to go a little higher. Maybe negative 2 times 14. There it is. So this factors into x minus 2, x plus 14. And again, we used MAM. Okay. Let's take a look at letter G. Okay. Always check for GCF. I have a coefficient of 1 here, so I know I can't pull out any numbers. I have A's, no A's. I can't pull out any letters, so no GCF. It's not a binomial, so I can't check for dots, but it is a trinomial, which means I can check for MAM. Doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work. Remember, but we're going to try. Remember when we have 2 variables, we're just going to ignore the b's for now. We'll bring them back in our answer. Our m value is 3, and our a value is 4. 3, we have 1 times 3, which does in fact add to 4. So it's going to be a plus 1 and a plus 3. And then remember, we put that b in that second spot. So really, we don't need this 1 here. So we can just say it's a plus b and a plus 3b. But if you left it like this is totally fine. And here we used ma'am. Let's take a look at letter J on the next page. Okay. We have 30, 6, and 3. I can definitely pull out a 3, so automatically I know I'm going to be using GCF. We definitely will be able to pull out more than a 3, but let's just take it one piece at a time. I can pull out a 3, and then look at your variables. I have x to the third, x, and x. Pull out the smallest, which is x. And with the y's, I have y squared, y to the fourth, and y. Pull out your smallest, which is y. Okay. 30 divided by 3 is 10. X to the third divided by x is x squared. Y to the second divided by y is y. Positive 6 divided by 3 is positive 2. X divided by x is 1, so we don't need to write it. Y to the fourth divided by y is y to the third. Negative 3 divided by 3 is 1. Negative 1 technically, so I know I'll have a minus. X divided by x is 1. Y divided by y is 1. So we need to put a 1 there. Double check on the inside. We have a trinomial. Let's make sure we can't use ma'am. We've got two variables, and we have not a variable in this last term. This is nothing that should look familiar to you, so therefore we are done. In this one, we use GCF. Let's take a look at N. This one is not in standard form. Okay, we need it in descending order. So I'm going to rewrite that. X squared plus 5x minus 6. Now that I've rewritten it, I cannot pull out a GCF. It's a trinomial, so I need to check for ma'am. M is negative 6, A is 5. 6 is negative 2 times positive 3, which gives us positive 1. So that doesn't work. Negative 6 times positive 1 gives us negative 5. Okay, so positive 6 and negative 1 would give us that positive 5. So this is x plus 6, x minus 1. And we used ma'am. Okay, I would like to do a couple more with you. Let's look at O. Always check for GCF. 4 and 16, I can definitely pull out a 4. And there's only one x term, so I can't pull out any x's. 4 divided by 4 is 1. Bring down the x squared. Positive 16 divided by 4 is 4. Let's check the inside. I have a binomial. I have perfect squares. However, it's addition, which means I can't take the difference of two perfect squares. So that one is done. Always double check what's on the inside, especially if it looks like something familiar. Check to see if you can factor any more. Okay, I want to do one more. Let's do letter R. Okay, let's first check for GCF. 9 and 49. 3, the factors of 9 are 1, 3, and 9. None of them go into 49, so I definitely can't pull out a GCF. With the numbers, let's look at the variables. A and B and C, they're all different, which means I cannot pull out a GCF. However, you should recognize that 9 and 49 are perfect squares. Because of that, let's take a look at our variables. Do I have all even exponents? I do. This means I can do dots. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of a squared is a. The square root of b to the fourth is b squared. Remember, you just take the exponent and divide it by 2. The square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of c to the 6 is c to the 3rd. It is subtraction as well, which is another reason I know I can do dots. Okay, so we have 3ab squared plus 7c to the 3rd times 3ab squared minus 7c to the 3rd. And if you double check here, these are not perfect squares, although that's subtraction. There's a lot that's not perfect squares. I think only the b squared is a perfect square, so I cannot pull anything out or do dots. Okay, finish the rest on your own.